Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We are broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios, and we're brought to you this hour by Extreme Exteriors. If you're just joining us, on the phone with us is attorney Rob Keena with Helmuth and Johnson, talking to us about this court case. Supreme Court in Oregon had made a footnote of what they thought the time frame was for the statute of limitations for being able to make a claim
for construction
defects. And we've been talking to Rob about that, and we had to interrupt Rob to go to break, and you had a story for us.
Well, here's the story. That statute of repose, that 10-year statute of repose, says in order to bring a construction defect claim, you have to discover the problem within 10 years. And interestingly, though, I had a client come to me once and say, I have a problem with my home. My home will be 10 years tomorrow. I don't know if I have a problem, but all my neighbors do, and they have the same builder.
Oh.
And I said, well, get a company out there to moisture test your house right away. And that company came that night and tested the house, and they found that the whole house was rotted. And they discovered it 9 years and 364 days from the certificate of occupancy.
Wow.
And the interesting thing then is he still has his 2 years. So he has until 11 years, 364 days to bring his claim, because it's a 10-year statute of repose and a 2-year statute of limitations.
So this is very objective decision. I mean, it's today or tomorrow.
Yeah. They don't. Yeah. In the law, my children turn in their homework a day late, they're okay. I bring a claim one day past the statute of limitations, all is lost.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and this refers to anything in a home, Rob, or is there just certain items?
All improvements to real property. It's a 2-year statute of limitations, but there's something different for homeowners associations, which I always explain to associations when they're talking to me. Many associations will come to me in year 5. Let's say they had the declarant turnover 5 years before, and they say, you know, Rob, for the past 5 years, we've been talking to the developer, and he won't take care of this problem, so now we want you to sue the developer. And I say to myself, oh, yikes, our negligence claim passed 2 years from the date of discovery of this problem. But homeowners associations have something different. In the Minnesota statute, section 515B, they have a 515B 4-113 warranty that single-family homeowners, not in associations, don't have. And the great news for that is you can bring that claim as long as you bring it within 6 years of the declarant turnover. There's 3 separate time frames that are measured, but usually the latest is declarant turnover. So even if you've known about a problem for 5 years, as long as you bring the claim within 6 years of turnover, you have a right that single-family homeowners don't have.
Interesting.
And you're right. The time flies by so quickly, especially when you're dealing with an entity like a homeowners association, because you've got people that are meeting monthly, so they go a long time before they get together once again, and then they need some more information before they move ahead. And
they're not real estate professionals. They're not construction specialists, usually, or for the most part. And so there's a big learning curve, I think, when you serve on a board in a new homeowners association.
And there's a huge learning curve. I mean, the typical situation I face is a person who looks at in a deposition and says, my home is 8 years old and my home has been a problem since day one. And they think they're making a really good statement for themselves. But really what they're doing is giving a defense to the other side because their statute of limitations is well.
Sure.
So tell us, if someone is in an association and they think that they may have some issues, what are some of those beginning steps that folks ought to consider before moving ahead with something like this?
Well, before they hire a lawyer, I think it's important to hire a construction expert to determine whether the condition they have is a true defect or whether this is something that is not a defect. It's just standard maintenance or something like that. So if I'm on a board of directors for a homeowners association and someone comes to me and says, I have this problem, the first thing I'm going to do is calendar 2 things. I'm going to calendar the 2-year anniversary from the discovery of that problem so I make sure I don't blow the deadline. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to check that my date of declarant turnover and mark the 6-year anniversary of that event. So that if I have a serious defect, what I'm not going to do is sit on my hands and let either of those anniversaries pass without speaking to a lawyer.
Okay. Good advice.
And how many associations do you think have issues or defect claims that they could actually move forward with. Do you have a sense? Is it?
Well, I can tell you I'm currently handling over 40 association cases, and
right now,
it used to be the stucco cases. I've done over 400 stucco cases, is my estimate. But today, the cases that we're bringing most often are these heaving cases where sidewalks and driveways and decks are heaving because these associations are built on clay. I have to say, I was at an association meeting last night with an association of the defect, and I'm usually going about 2 nights a week now to meet with boards. I have to presume in Minnesota there are still hundreds.
Wow.
So do you have any time for the family with all of that?
Well, it's funny. I went to the association meeting last night, and then I ran off to the Puss in Boots movie after that with my daughter.
You go.
So I'm moving fast.
Well, before we let you go here, too, Rob, it's always great to have you on the air here with us, and you've been gracious to come in and teach seminars for our property managers. Is there? I just want to ask: is there any upcoming seminar, anything that you're doing that our listeners or other people should know about?
Well, I'm teaching one on the statute of limitations for contractors here in about 6 weeks, but anytime that folks want to look for a seminar, they just go to hjlawfirm.com, and you'll be able to see our upcoming Saturday seminars, because typically 2 or 3 times a year on a Saturday, folks can come to our law firm. We have a large conference room, holds 60, 70 people, and they can hear all about the various laws for affecting community associations, including the statute of limitations. If they want to learn about the statute of limitations in particular, they can go to that same website, hjlawfirm.com, and there's an article called The Homeowner's Guide, which explains this law, the 2-year statute of limitations, in detail in layman's terms.
All right.
Any cost to those seminars for homeowners?
Absolutely not.
That's great. And your website one more time?
hjlawfirm.com.
And they can also go there for all of the articles that you guys have written, too. You guys are prolific writers on a number of topics, and there's a whole section just for homeowner associations. So
yeah, we try to make it a resource where they have something other than just people pitching business. And there's good resources there.
Yeah. Well,
Great.
Rob, thanks so much for taking some time to be with us on the show today.
Thanks a lot. I hope to come back another time.
Okay.
Thanks,
all right.
Rob.
Thanks.
Take care.
I want to mention, too, about Helmuth and Johnson's seminars. If you're a professional in this business, you get credits for those. You get real continuing education credits, at least for some of them, which is really nice because it's free. So these are credits you don't have to pay for.
Yeah, these guys are really good, and I really appreciate an organization that takes as much time not only in making a living at their craft or service, but also giving back to the community. And a lot of those educational things really are just great tools.
Yeah, and we value that a lot.
Yeah.
New concepts.
Another great tool, folks, for you is our newsletter. And we'd like to let our listeners know here on the second hour of our show here. It's called What's New. A lot of the topics that we cover are covered in further detail. It's yours just for the asking. Give us a call during the week. You want to talk to Courtney at 952-922-2500, and she'll make sure that you start receiving yours either electronically or by mail. We've got a brand new newsletter out this month in November, so you want to make sure that you take care of that. Also would like to let our listeners know, too, it's that time of month again, and that means that it is time to offer another Marge Peterson Memorial Scholarship. Once a month, Community Associations Institute has allowed us on this show to offer 1 free year's membership to a caller of our show. So all you need to do is give us a call on our hotline. That number is 952-224-2668. Make sure you leave your name, your address, phone number, your email address. We want to be able to have the proper contact information so we can get CAI in contact with you for that free membership. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back left in the show today, we're going to be talking next out of Utah, Park City, Utah. A homeowner association are upset because the city seems to be adding additional fees to them just for the cost of having a fire department. We've got some things to say about that. In addition, another story here, Arcadia City Council in California. They want to do an end around and change the governing documents, possibly without the association's full consent. That and so much more on Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We'll be back after this.